I'm Heather.
Welcome to Small Town Big Thoughts. Well, welcome back.
Guys.
So, as you can tell, we have a guest. This is Amber, one of my best friends and mother of London. So, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yes, I have a little girl. Her name's London. She just turned 2 in February. She is. Gosh, she's growing up so quick. She is full of sass. Outdoors girl. If I would let her live outside, she would. I'm not even being dramatic on that. She loves to be outside from daylight to dark. I don't care if it's 30 degrees. She will stand at the door begging to go. And then if she sees any water, she tries to go. Like we have this fish pond in front of our house. Just like with a couple goldfish. And every time I'm like doing to feed the fish, she's like taking off her shoes trying to get in there.
She's like, I am the fish.
I'm like, calm down. So I can just see her when she's older out there with the fish holding it in there.
Oh my parents.
Is she an Aquarius?
She is an Aquarius. I'm 90% sure she's an Aquarius. I'm not very good with the signs. I'm pretty sure she is. Which is, I want to say that might be a water element.
I think it is.
I think it is. She was supposed to be born in March, but she was early. So,
Because she loves water.
loves water. You're looking it up, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's an Aquarius. I think I know that.
Okay, is that what that
I
was?
think so. Poor girl.
She missed it, but she's like an Aquarius by a day.
By a day.
February 18th. Is
Yep.
the
And
last
so
day.
she's the 17th. So see, the Lord wanted her to be born in February.
That is so awesome.
I never even thought about that.
We were talking about that yesterday because she said Justin's a Cancer, which is a water sign, and he's always wanted a fool.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's so crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe that's why I love gardening so much. I'm earth, so I want my hands in like the dirt.
Yeah.
Right?
Just like getting in there. I probably should use gloves, but I'm just like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Huh.
So,
Yeah. So I'm a single mom. Work full time. I am blessed to work from home. Huge, huge blessing. Single parent, so no co-parenting. It's just me. So it's just me and her. She's my little partner in crime, my travel buddy. We do it all together. Definitely keeps me on my toes.
Yes. Okay, so tell us what your experience was when you found out you were pregnant.
Fear first. I mean, because it was not planned. So anything not planned, you're going to feel a little bit of fear.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got past that and realized my support group and, I have a stable job, stable income, family, close friends. Once I got past that part of it, it was a lot better, anything unplanned, I feel like is just scary.
Yeah.
So once you can get past that, and I thought to myself, I've seen people do it that don't have family, that don't have close friends, that don't have, family around them in the same town or, don't have the best job or, struggling. So I was like, what, if they can do it, I can do it. So
Yeah.
How long did it take you to kind of just realize?
A couple months. I mean, there was times when I really just didn't want to get out of bed. Not that I was depressed. I was just scared. Like, what am I going to do? Because when your first baby, you want, the dream of like the husband or the partner that's going to be there, and you're going to do it together, and you're going to have everything planned, and you're going to do the nursery together. And I think once I realized I can still do all this, I'm just not going to have someone to do it with me.
Mm-hmm.
I got excited about it. And then once I found out she was a girl, it just made it. I was able to connect with her better. Not that I didn't want her. It's just once you know the sex, I feel like you can just connect a lot better. Like, okay, this is real. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to name her.
Yeah.
We can start doing some of the fun stuff like shopping for baby clothes and, just those different things that just kind of make everything not so scary, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Who was your first phone call?
Oh,
shoot. You probably just walked out of the room to go tell Nana.
No. Oh, I didn't tell her for a few weeks, actually. Maybe 2 weeks. I think it was my first phone call. Ashley, maybe? No, I don't think it was. So both my sisters were also pregnant. My two older sisters. Yeah, they were both
I
pregnant.
forgot they were.
Yeah.
What?
My oldest sister was a little bit farther along, but yeah, we were all three pregnant at the same time. Who was my first phone call? No, I think it might have been you were one of the first. I don't know if you were the first, but you were definitely one of the first.
Oh, I don't know.
You were one of the first.
I was just like, are you okay? Are we happy? Are we good?
Yeah, you were definitely one of the first.
I just wanted to like fill her out before I was like, okay.
Because I kept it to myself for just a bit, just to let it sink in, and process it before I
You're like,
told
is this
other
actually
people.
happening?
Yeah, like I just wanted to be sure. I honestly think my middle sister, think she knew. Because I feel like her intuition, she just knew, if that makes sense. And then I did call my dad. I called my dad crying. So he was one of the first.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why I was afraid to tell my Nana because she loves babies. I don't know why. But she was just like over the moon excited, So, yeah, I'm trying to remember who the actual first phone call was. I don't remember who the first phone call was, but I remember the first few people that knew. So
I was like, holy shit.
Surprise!
It's like, okay. And I think I was like, I'll be the pappy.
How far apart are your sister's babies with London?
So my nephew, he was born October, so about 5 months difference, and then my niece, she was born the end of January, so like 3 weeks, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're all pretty close together, which is really cool. So
That is crazy.
yeah, and then
The more I think about it, I'm like, damn. And then my baby's born that year.
and Lynn's little girl, they're pretty close together, cool in age, which I think is really cool because they'll be in school together. So yeah, it was like the year for babies.
It really was because I think my boss's daughter was born. Like she had her son.
That's right.
Yeah.
She did. I forget. Yes.
And then a few months before that, in December, my cousin Justin and
They had their little baby, right?
Yeah, they had Brantley in December.
So many babies.
I mean, yeah, it was like back to back to back. But I mean, I feel like it's the same way now. Like with, I know, like.
I know a lot.
Yeah, like there's
so
like
many.
10 girls, like from I think like May to September.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I feel like every time I get on social media right now, it's just like, baby, I have a baby due in September. I have a baby due in September, which I know that September is September is crazy. It's like the month for everything. It's the month for weddings, the month for babies, the month for moving. It's like, September's like a crazy month.
It is a busy month now that you say that.
Yeah, my mind's so demented. I'm like, it's also great for dying. Thanks, Mom.
Oh my God.
Sorry. That's why I was like, I don't know if I should say this out loud or not. But
It's weird because before London, nothing in February. Like there was, Valentine's Day, but there was no. And this February, we realized my grandparents' 53rd anniversary was on the 10th. And then Valentine's Day was on the 14th. He died on the 14th, Valentine's Day. And then London's birthday was the 17th. So it's like that whole week was just boom, 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 boom. And I'm so glad February is over. I'm so glad.
Yes. It was a long few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that month is crazy though.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it's like all three of my best friend's daughters are like boom, boom. And then I'm like, well, isn't Annie's this February?
Mm-hmm.
And then my godmother's is February. Yeah, there's just a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I feel like
For a short month.
in my calendar is like February's packed, September's packed, and I feel like that's really it. Like the other months are just like there's like maybe 1-2 birthdays, but like September and February are just.
So in my family, August is a crazy month because my birthday, my cousin's birthday, my grandma's birthday, my nana's birthday, my uncle's birthday. There's like 5 August birthdays.
Oh my God.
And they're all like my nana and my nephew are the same day. And it's just like boom, boom,
Me
boom,
and
boom,
my
boom.
aunt are the same day.
Really?
Wait, Auntie Rita.
I didn't know that.
Well,
Oh, cool.
January 2nd.
Oh, wow. I think my Uncle Will's is January.
Oh, his is.
I
Yes.
think you guys share
We're
the same
birthday
birthday
buddies.
too.
Well, and then Robin's little cousin Allison, her and I share a birthday
That's so
too.
crazy.
So, yeah.
Wow.
January 2nd was hopping.
Right?
Someone had to be an April Fool's joke. Just saying.
Well, I was thinking, in September, you have to have sex in December, and then so in August, they're Thanksgiving. They're like
Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Yep. No, yeah.
Is this kid a broken bow baby? I'm just joking.
Which I was born in November, so I was conceived on around Valentine's Day. So I was like,
It's so funny.
that's one of my favorite things to figure out. There, that's probably like super weird, but that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to figure out. I'm like,
That's so funny.
Where were you when you conceived?
Oh boy.
I know. Then Justin has this whole theory on he can tell if a person's gonna have a boy or girl or not.
Really?
Yes, by how they conceive the position.
Oh my gosh. Men.
He swears it's a whole thing,
Oh,
but
men.
we don't have the data to support it yet.
I thought London was a boy. I had it in my mind she was a boy.
yeah.
Which I was fine either way, but I really thought she was a boy. I was convinced in my mind. I was like, it's a boy. And it was not a boy.
I think for you, I felt girl, but I just like knew you like all the girly things.
So here's what's crazy. My great grandma, her first was my grandma, and then she had a boy. My grandma, her first was my mom, and then she had a boy. My mom's me,
Yeah.
and then I had a girl. So like we've all had girls first. I don't know. It's just like a pattern. So it's kind of cool.
One day, London's gonna live brother.
That's how my dad's family is. His first siblings are girls, the first two, and then um, he had two girls, and then uh, my mom had two girls, and then Lynn had a girl. So I assume that she's gonna have another girl, and then I think Buffy's the only one. She had a girl and then a boy and a boy. Well, yeah.
It's interesting.
It's crazy. Huh?
Yeah.
It's so interesting for me. I love genetics.
I decided if I ever had another one, big if, I would wait to find out the gender.
Really?
Yeah. I just think that's so like there's just so many very few true surprises in life,
Yeah.
and I would have to like obviously be with my partner, hopefully
Yeah.
married,
Yeah.
and so I just think that'd be something to experience together,
One of my friends just did that, and I was really hoping because they have two girls, and so I was really hoping that she was having a boy.
It's a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the new trend though, how people are moving away from like the really big, over drawn out, unnecessary gender reveals
Yeah.
and moving to just like them doing like a cake or something and then notifying like
To me, it's like a private moment. Just to me, like to each their own.
Yeah.
For me, it's like a private, special moment that I just want to hold on to for myself for a minute,
Yeah.
And so I just think having a baby at the hospital, finding out together, and just having a minute, I don't know, I just think that's so special.
I like that people are. Have you seen where they just like literally don't tell anybody their entire pregnancy?
Yes.
They just show up.
Surprise!
You can't do that though. She would kill you.
She would.
She would.
But that
kill
is cool.
you.
Like just having it all because if you think about it too, like our parents, grandparents, they didn't have social media and stuff to post this, and unless like you ran into people, I mean, you didn't just text
Well,
them.
it takes the stress out.
Yeah,
I feel like on like, because I'm sure a lot of it is like you're doing for other people. It's almost like weddings.
yeah,
Like a lot of your decision. Well, I wonder what they think, or like
Yeah.
I wonder. And then like I feel like that way it keeps it just like you and your
very
partner.
personal. Yeah, and
Like
close
who,
family.
yes, and who you want. Like you get the luxury to like pick and choose.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think it's cool too.
Yeah.
You do you.
Yeah, it's each their own. Just personally, I would probably take a different approach just because I want to do something different. So
I mean, like, and if it gets to a point where there is like maybe like medical emergency or
Yes.
condition, then
yes.
okay, like
Yes.
send out that group text
Absolutely.
or whatever. But I think it's personal's good.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be out there.
I like this age of like more privacy, less social media.
Mhm.
Yes, I agree. Taking it too.
Mhm. Me too. Me too.
Okay. What about your birth experience?
So for the most part, I had a pretty healthy pregnancy. I mean, I ate decent. I craved like fruits, like strawberries, grapes. That's the things I craved. So, because in the first trimester, it was over the summer, it was hot. So I craved like all those, just sweet fruits and stuff. So I ate a lot of that, and a lot of protein. So and I did work out, moderately, nothing heavy, but so I was pretty in good shape. All my checkups were good. 6.5 months, probably right at 6 months, I started having high blood pressure. So that was an issue. And then they did say I had preeclampsia. So that was scary, but she was able to get me through eight, oh, eight, I think 8 months. I had her about 8 months and a week, somewhere through there.
Yeah.
So that was a good, they were confident like that's healthy to induce. Her birth weight should be good. And it was. She was 5 pounds. Teeny tiny little preemie sized baby. Oh my gosh, her little diaper looked like it went on a doll. It was so small.
Oh, not the Build-A-Bear.
Yeah. And I didn't have any clothes for her because I packed like newborn 0 to 3. I didn't have any preemie clothes. It's just not something I really thought about,
Right.
So thankfully my older sister got all that taken care of. So I had clothes to bring her home in. But she was healthy. I mean, she was born perfectly healthy, no issues, no NICU time. They weren't worried about NICU because of weight, but more of like regulating blood sugar and just different things because she was a little bit early, but her lungs were great. So she got to go home that next day. So that part was really, really good. However, right after I had her 4 or 5 days, I got a fever of about 104. So I called my OB. They called in a prescription. I couldn't hold it down. So I was trying to breastfeed and I got mastitis, which most of you know what that is. If not, it's just a complication from breastfeeding. It causes an infection. And if you don't treat it correctly, it can go into your bloodstream, which is what happened with me.
Yeah.
So 4 days later, I had a close family friend come by and check on us and bring us dinner. And she looked at me and I was white, like whiter than white.
Yeah.
Like transparent purple almost. And my fever was still high. I couldn't hold anything down throwing up. So she took me to the doctor and I had turned septic because of that infection got in my bloodstream. Because none of those antibiotics were in my system because I couldn't hold it down. So that was scary. You don't want to be away from your baby so soon. But thankfully they got me really good antibiotics, knocked it out, got to go home the next day. And never any issues with either of us since. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're pretty blessed.
yeah, very, very blessed overall.
London was tiny though.
Teeny tiny. Oh my gosh. I was so afraid to put her in a car seat because she was just like, could hold her in my hand. Like the men in my family, they didn't want to hold her because they were afraid. She just looked like a little doll.
She's still a little doll.
Sassy doll.
What did you say? Precious moment?
Precious moment doll.
Yes.
Yeah.
I took her there last year, I think for Memorial Weekend. We went through Precious Moments and I took her in there. And it was just so cool to see her because we had stopped in there all the time when I was a kid. So it was cool to see her doing some of the things that I did as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was special. Good, very special.
Traditions.
Yes.
Is there anything about your birth experience or your pregnancy at all that was traumatic?
I mean, the preeclampsia was scary. And I'll say this was also right after COVID kind of happened. So each hospital was different with their rules, but my hospital specifically did not allow any visitors for regular doctor's appointments. So I was going to these appointments alone. One time I did have to go to triage in Hillcrest because of my blood pressure. She was like, I can't send you home. We got to get this under control.
Yeah.
And I was like, can someone go with me? She was like, if you're admitted. So that was pretty scary trying to figure out where to go. I'm sitting in a hospital with all these monitors. Like, I don't know if I'm going to have a baby at 7 months. Like, I'm alone. So that was scary not having anyone with you because I was already going through it alone without a partner.
Yeah.
So not having anyone there with me, that part was scary. But that would probably be the only traumatic thing per se. Post baby, the formula shortage was a huge issue.
Yeah.
That was scary. That was traumatic for me because you don't want to have to worry about where your baby's food's coming from.
Yeah.
And there was people that were just really mean on social media because I had posted at one point like, hey, if anyone sees this formula. And this girl, she was like, God made us to be able to, or God made women in order to breastfeed or something like that. And I just thought, you don't know my story. Like I tried. I literally put myself in a hospital trying to feed her.
There's so many circumstances that go like into it, and I mean it could go down to even being just a personal choice.
It is a personal
Stop
choice.
judging.
Fed is best. Fed is best, however that may be.
Facts.
I mean, as long as your baby has a full belly, it does not matter where it comes from, in my opinion.
Right.
Now, I will say, I did realize, okay, if you don't breastfeed, that's fine. If you formula feed, that's fine. But have a different plan as a backup because that could happen again.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would note is just have a different plan. Like I had actually found a couple websites after all this that do like organic baby food subscriptions. And they were able to provide for their existing clients the entire time.
Oh, good.
So that might be a good option just to research. I think the UK, their ingredients are a lot cleaner than the US's. And there was people
And everything.
Yes. There was people ordering from over there. By the time I got on there, it was too late. But even some people were trolls on this too, homemade baby food or formula.
Yeah, I saw that.
People did that in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Like, and their babies. So just don't judge. Don't be mean. Obviously moms do their research. They're not going to give their baby something that's going to hurt them. But that would be my biggest piece of advice. If you don't breastfeed, that is completely okay. But just have a backup plan because that could very well happen again one day. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
something to note.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like a lot more of like the banks for like the breast milk too. Maybe people
Yes.
with over surplus and all that.
Yes.
I feel like that kind of became more talked about too. So
Oh,
that was
well,
like,
and there were trolls on social media about breastfeeding, but there were also very good people. I had people reach out to me that were breastfeeding saying, hey, I freeze so and so's milk. If it gets that bad, your baby's going to be fed.
yes.
And that was a huge blessing. And that's something I would do if I was able to provide, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge, huge blessing. So there were good people that came from that. You know, I know you guys were looking for Londons and for LDs. I mean, I had people in California sitting.
Yes.
So there was a lot of good people, but just don't troll when it comes to breastfeeding because it's moms are stressed enough at it as it is. Like that just adds one more thing for them to worry about.
Exactly.
That's like one thing that like I'm sure well they probably do. I feel like people are just mean, but like I'm sure people don't necessarily think about it. But I'm just like moms literally have to go through hell. Like who are you to say anything? And if you have kids, then you should know.
You should know. Yes. You know, I was at the flea market yesterday, and London's usually pretty good, but she was just having a bad day. She was fussy, and you know, I'm stressed trying to get her quiet. And I had a very close friend with me yesterday who works at the school, and she's like, Amber, it's fine. She was like, this is life. It happens. And she said, if anyone's going to be mad at you for that, they can leave.
Yeah.
She's like, it's fine. She's a baby. She doesn't know. They can't express their emotions like we can as adults.
Yeah. I like whenever people, I guess you can say, like, get on the same level as kids. Like, they try to understand them in a different way rather than just being like, your 2-year-old should act like an adult. You know? Like,
my friend yesterday, that's a teacher, she got down on the floor with London, like, talking, you know, trying to talk to her, like, okay, what's wrong? Like, what's bothering you? You know, just trying to figure out instead of like, I was frustrated, like, London, what do you want? And she just very patient with her. And I thought, okay, that's a good part, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. Get on the same level because they can't explain what's bothering them. She could have had a headache yesterday and she can't say, Mom, I have a headache.
Right.
I mean, they don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lesson learned on that.
No, I say that's good to like always keep in mind too.
Yeah.
I say can sometimes feel panicked and automatic reaction.
Yes.
Yeah, even with Ellie, sometimes like I'm just like use your words, like you know. But then at the same time, Lynn's like she doesn't have words.
She doesn't.
She doesn't know, and I'm like, oh, you know,
It's like a guessing game. Excuse me.
No, you're good. But I just like sometimes I just find myself, which kind of makes me worried for like my kids. But I'm just like, you know, like I'll learn as I go. But I'm just like, whenever I guess I'm learning with her.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
you learn as you go. Like you just learn. My mom each day's trial and error. You know, you just learn. Because I was like, how am I gonna know this, that? How am I gonna know this or that? And it just comes to you and you just do it. Like I think fight or flight mode comes in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that moment.
Okay. Any challenges and joys of being a single mother?
Joys, I have her to myself.
Yes.
That's a blessing. I get to be there for everything, walking, talking, first crawl, just different things. I get to be there for those milestones. Challenges on that is I don't really get a break.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just be realistic, and that's okay. I've got people, that offer, but I feel bad. So that's probably a challenge, I would say, is being able to find time.
Yeah.
Because even if you have a partner or husband, like, they can take the kid to the store for 10 minutes and give the mom a break,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I have help, but not a parent help, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw a video the other day, and this lady, she was talking about she had to beg her husband to watch their child for 2 hours so she could go to an appointment for a surgery that she needs.
What?
Yes, and she had to offer him like the next day. She was like, I'll take care of the kids all day tomorrow. You can go golfing, you can do this, and
Ooh.
like you can go to the gym as soon as I get home, and you can have the whole evening off.
It's
And
so
I was like,
crazy
you're
to me.
trading time for 2 hours. You're trading all of that.
It's like, he's he a babysitter or a parent?
Right.
Yes.
So like I feel like if that's what you have to deal with, then like the opposite is then like having
Yeah,
your
there's good.
might be better.
There's good and bad to both. There really
Right.
is, because I can raise her how I think she should be raised. There's good and bad. Challenge. I don't know if it's a challenge, but it does make me sad for her that it is just me. But piggyback on that, there are so many male positive role influences in her life. She's gonna be okay no matter what. So.
Right. Which I feel like, not that my dad wasn't around, but just like he worked a lot.
Yes.
And so like my uncles, my
Yes.
brother, like
They all step up.
everybody was like, I always felt like all of my uncles were like a father figure,
Mhm.
and like Justin stepped in a lot.
Yes.
So I feel like that role's filled.
Absolutely. Yes. I
No
feel
matter
like
what.
her uncles and her, my boss, he's a great role model for her. Shout out to Vito.
Shout out to Vito.
My cousins out at the ranch, like, they're just all great positive influences. So she'll be fine.
Yes. Well, and coming from the child of a single mother, yes, she will be more than fine. So, because I mean, if you think about it, like I can think of someone right now who has 2 kids and is in a marriage, but she's like a single mother in that marriage.
Yeah.
And like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Men step up. Partners step up.
Yeah, because I've seen the dads do everything and the mom does. I mean, so yeah, step up, because it takes two. It's hard.
Yes, and so like I know she will cherish all of them. Like I kind of mentioned, yesterday.
Yeah.
Like my brother, I hate that like he had to grow up fast to take care of me, but I'm grateful like he's a great role model and now a great dad to 2 kids. So shout out to him. And then my grandpa, like what little time I had with him, it was impactful. And then all my uncles, especially my Uncle Gary, he taught me everything. And so she'll be fine.
My grandpa, I was very, very close to him. I considered him like a male father. And so was my little girl. And she would hear his truck. She would go outside. She'd run and do a little happy dance. We still hear that same truck and she still thinks it's him. But I mean, he'd come over about like 3:30, pick her up. They go feed the deer. She'd get out there, give him the corn with, like she knew the routine. I mean, they were just buddies, and it makes me so sad that she won't have that. But
we get to remind her.
And there's other people that have came to me and said, we'll step up. Like she will. My cousin out at the ranch, like bring her out there. I'll teach her how to hunt, fish, all of it.
Yeah.
So there's people that will step up, and we're thankful for all those people in our lives.
Exactly. She will not go without. We will make sure of that. Okay, well, piggybacking off that, your support systems. Shout out to Nana.
Yeah, my grandma is a huge, huge, huge help. And it's also good because she's been through the kids, she's been through the grandkids, so her patience I see it from that perspective. Like,
her patience is unmatched.
Yes, her patience is unmatched. There's some things, but for overall, her patience is there. So she's a huge, huge help and a blessing. My older sister, she looks out for London. Um, my work family, honestly, they're all super supportive. My grandpa died a few days before London's second birthday, and I didn't get hurt anything because it was all so crazy. And they made sure they sent her flowers and and just made sure she was taken care of.
Yeah.
And that, that's really rare to find an employer that wants to do those things. So
yes.
And then all her little aunts and uncles were super thankful. Super thankful for that. So
yes. Well, and also like Bobby is incredible because he is, well, from a friend's perspective, just like the friendship y'all have, and then the flexibility.
Letting me work from home is a huge blessing. I mean, and that's something I'll never be able to repay him because he's giving me time.
Yes.
He's giving me so much time with her.
And that's something you can't get.
Like you said, like you had to be there for like first
everything. I haven't had to miss any of that or send her to daycare and try to pay for daycare. I mean, daycare is so expensive.
Oh my gosh,
it's crazy. And I don't know how some people do it. I don't know how.
Yeah.
They find a way, but I don't know how. And kudos if you do have to send your kid to daycare. I mean, mad respect.
If you can find daycare.
Yeah. I mean, around here
it's a daycare desert.
Yeah.
So
I've always seen people posting like, "Can somebody watch my kid?
Yeah.
Is there a daycare available?"
It's sad. And I'm sure Lynn is super thankful Annie is able to be there with Ellie.
Shout out to Annie.
Yes. I mean, same with my Nana. I mean, when I go to Tulsa one day a week, which I do enjoy going. So,
well, like I said, it gives you like you time.
Yes, you time. And for an hour at lunch, I've got a friend and we are just friends. He's a male, but we're just friends. And he'll be like, "You want to go to lunch?" And I'm like, "Let's go." And we'll just go sit on a patio and it's just an hour, just,
adult talk.
Yes. He doesn't have kids and he doesn't want kids, which is more than okay.
Yeah.
But we just have really adult, and it's nice,
Right.
It's just friends so it's just finding those little moments for yourself, whatever they may be.
Well, and you deserve that too, because I feel like sometimes, and again, I'm obviously like not a mother who's birthed children, but like so many times I feel like you see like mothers like lose themselves in being like in that, and sometimes it's like I feel like they're 100% a mom, but they forget that like you're still 100% Amber.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Or like you're 100% Heather. Yes. And so that's why I'm always proud when you do get to go do those things because I'm like you're still a person too that you have to nurture yourself, but as an individual and as a mother.
There was someone that told me once, and it was kind of rude. I was like, "Who are you to?" They're like, "You're gonna have a baby, your life's over," and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's just beginning." Like one thing I like to do is travel, and London already has a passport. There's no reason why we can't continue to do the things that I like to do.
Yes.
I've taken her to Eureka Springs, to Branson, the Passion Play in Eureka Springs. I mean, just different places and experiences, and it's fine. I mean, we have a great time, and I'm like, this just makes everything I was already doing that much better.
Yeah.
So I get to see it through her eyes,
Yeah. That's what I try to tell Lynn and my mom. I'm like, because I'll say like, "Let's go do this," and they're like, "Oh, well, we have Ellie." And I'm like, that is not an excuse.
No,
Who
don't let it
cares?
stop you.
Carry her. Get her, put her in a stroller.
Yes.
Who cares?
Exactly.
We took Alexi and Brittany and Brayden and Allie and all them everywhere.
Yeah.
And hypothetically, we maybe had a van. But we were so packed in there. We even had bean bags like in the middle aisle for Brittany and Brayden to hypothetically sit in. We were rolling deep.
Yeah.
We were going somewhere as like a family.
Like at daycare, whenever we were, hypothetically, we would have too many kids, but we had a big van. And so, there'd be people in the trunk, you'd have people sitting on laps. This is a different time. But
school buses, they didn't have seatbelt. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, no judgment. We've all been there. Trying to think there's just different things like the Passion Play in Eureka Springs is really, really neat. It's a 2-hour production, and everyone's like, "You can't take a baby to that. Why not?" She was fine. I had little headphones for you.
I was gonna say why.
Fine. I mean, she liked the lights and she fell asleep, but she was fine.
Literally seen like a 2-year-old at a Drake concert.
Yes.
Like
Yeah. I mean, there's just different things. Like I want to go to the tulip farm and pick tulips. She likes to pick tulips, so we're gonna go. I mean, there's some things I would not take her to do, but for the most part, I mean, you just enjoy it with them, make the memories.
Maybe not to the bar, but
Yeah.
Well, we all fun things.
Yes, well, because like there would be people, it's like, well, let's do this, and it's like, well, I want to wait till they're older when they remember, and it's like, okay, so the time we're waiting on this one to get older, like we've missed out on X many years with this one. Like when I think I was like 5 or 6, we had gone out to Disneyland and we road tripped out there with it was like me, my mom, I think my brother was there, like my godmother, and then like a few other family people. And I don't remember everything about the trip, but I remember driving out there and I remember looking at a map and someone being like, okay, we're following this route.
Yes.
I remember a little dust devil hit our van and I thought it was Wizard of Oz. At Disneyland, I remember Minnie Mouse's house and we got to go in and do a little tea party. And I remember a few things of the parade. That's it. But we went. They made memories with me. I made memories
exactly.
with them.
And the photos. So like my grandparents took us on trips like to Branson and stuff, and he wanted to take London, and I was like, she's too. The pictures we have now that he's gone.
Yes.
I am so thankful. We went to Dixie Stampede.
Life's too short not to.
Yes, and he loved those moments. He got to see those, and she might not remember, but when he went, he knew that he got to do those things with her, and she has pictures. So life is so short. Take the trip.
Exactly.
Yes.
We don't know. I mean, and I'm sorry, but we just don't know if tomorrow is promised. So take a trip.
Which I tell mom all the time. I'm like, you had me and Lynn and Justin.
Yeah, all 3 of you.
And we went to Las Vegas every year.
Oh wow.
Like you drug 2 kids around the casino around Las Vegas. Like I'm like, listen, you got 1 now.
Yeah.
Like, and you have 5 adults? Yeah, 5 adults.
And
so
she likes Justin now.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, that's okay. Like take her, go do things. Go, like you have so many people to watch this one kid, and it was just you and Dad. And I mean, Justin wasn't watching us.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's just you and Dad chasing 2 kids around Las Vegas. Like
we load up in the car. My aunt, uncle, me, my mom, my brother, and we'd go to St. Louis. And I've been to St. Louis like 6 times, 7 times. And I can only vividly remember 2. And that's because I was much older.
yeah.
But I know I went with them each time. I know we went to the Arch. I know we went to the Science Museum.
I'll say this too. Whenever you do those things, you don't know if that's going to affect someone else, giving them the courage to be able to go. Because like my older sister, I was questioning, like, should I take Lily? Should I bring her? Should I do this?
Just do it.
My older sister was taking him on a plane at 5 months old. Did great, taking him on all these trips. And I'm like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. Because she's got 2 other little kids, and she's making it work. So I'm going to do it.
Well, there's someone in town when she had her first boy, her and her husband, they were like going to see family. But I remember this kid had already hit like half of the 50 states.
Oh, yes.
It's just like, at first it's like, oh my gosh, they road tripped like that long with a baby. But then it's like, how cool.
Yeah, like good for you.
Good.
Yes, exactly.
Like, he's a world traveler.
Yes.
Most of us don't even take the courage to do that anymore.
No, exactly. No, that's
I love that. I think that everybody should just like have a kid. Who cares?
Continue to live your life. I mean, it'll work out. It does. It does.
That's like, which I've always thought that like maybe I shouldn't say that because I've never had kids, but I'm just like, I've never understood why people completely just stop doing things whenever I have a baby. I'm like, because for me, like, I want to continue to have my garden, which I'm going to be pregnant all summer, but like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to go out there and garden, and,
Good for you.
I'm going to be one of those, like, people with the little baby hanging on them, and digging in the garden.
Yes.
Like, I'm just going to be like, it's fine. She's fine. We're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so like, especially because I'm at home working all the time, which I'm thankful for, but also I'm like, I want to get out. Like on the weekends, I've got to get out and go do stuff. And I know she wants to get out and it's good for her to see people. So take the trip. I mean, there's been times I'm like, it's only 3 hours away. We could go do that for a Saturday. I mean, because she loves car rides. She'll just look out there. So, I mean, life is short. Take the trip. Do you? I mean, do what you are already doing. And it just makes everything that much better seeing it through your kids' eyes.
And I love that. It's such a good perspective.
It took me a while to find that perspective, but it helps seeing other people do it and share that. So I hope that gives y'all some encouragement.
Take the trip.
Yes.
With the kids or without, but with. Okay, balancing motherhood with other aspects of life. Any thoughts?
So, yeah, I mean, that she does do a lot of things with me, but it is important to find time for yourself. It is. Whether that be 2-hour girl night dinner or whether it be working out for 30 minutes. Fitness is really important to me. So I will try to find 30 minutes in a day just to get out and go run the steps of the courthouse or go for a walk or, just do something. Or even if it's taking my car and cleaning it, like just finding little moments for yourself can make the biggest just relief. And then you can be, to me, getting that stress kind of out for a minute. I can go back and be the best mom to her. Right. So take care of yourself first because I don't know if that
you
makes sense.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. You can't pour from an empty cup. So you've got to make sure your cup's filled first.
And I think that what she doesn't understand now, but I think you're teaching her that like she needs to take care of herself.
Yes.
And she needs to also like eventually, she'll understand that like you do take this time to take care of yourself and be a better person.
And it doesn't make you a bad person if you do. It doesn't. And one thing I will say too is, right, I used to be a yes person. Yes, yes, yes. Now I'm not afraid to say no if that's what I need. Yeah. Like if I don't want to do it and I don't think that I'm not going to do it. And that's okay. So that's been kind of my motto lately too, is it's okay to say no.
Did it take you a while to get there?
Yes, because I'm a huge people pleaser. Huge people pleaser. I just want everyone to get along and sunshine and roses, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So that for me is a huge thing. So it took me a long time to get there, and I'm still working on it, but I'm getting there. So
yeah. Well, you probably put more pressure on yourself too.
Yes.
Like I had said, like that one time I was like, dinner, and she's like, she's fussy today, probably not. I'm like, okay. Like,
and I'm like, I hope she's not mad.
Yeah. It's just like, and I'm like, well, she's probably teething.
But those are the best people, are people that understand. And like Paige, one time, my close friend Paige, her voice, I can't remember what it was. I'm like, rain check. And she's like, thank you for understanding. And
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes like, I can go days without talking to some of my close friends. My sister Ashley and I are very, very close. We'll go a week, but she'll remember the important appointments. Like I'm praying for London's appointment today, and people have been understanding, like I can't just talk and communicate like I used to, or just drop everything and go.
Yeah.
And people are pretty understanding of that. And that's kind of how you figure out who your circle is. Mm-hmm. Not that people are bad people if they don't understand. Some people just don't understand. But thankful for that my circle is understanding that just the dynamic has shifted a little.
Right. And I think not just in motherhood, but like also in friendships, I've tried to like keep that perspective because like there's days that like I'm not mentally, like there and I don't want to go do something. And somebody, they text me and they're like, hey, do you want to go bowling or do you want to go out to the bar? Or do you want to do this? And I'm like, not really, but it makes me feel bad. Yeah. But then whenever other people do it to me and I text them and I'm like, hey, do you want to go do this? Or do you want to go do that? And they're like, no. I'm like, no worries.
That's the best mindset though. It's like low maintenance friends are the best friends. I mean, they really are. Yeah. Like me and Reba can go a week and then pick up right where, we left off or not see each other for a month, But I know if something happened, she's one of my people and same with her. But I was living in Tulsa when your mom had passed. I think I was. I hadn't we talked, but we hadn't seen each other in quite a while. And when I found out she was in the hospital, I came up there and we all went to, and it's just, those are your people, the ones that
The only person I really remember is I think Matthew was sitting in front of me, and then my brother and Justin, and like that's all I remember. But I know we had a big ass party because I think we were sitting out back.
Yeah, at that Mexican restaurant, La Fiesta.
I could not tell you anyone else that was there. I know we rolled up like 20 deep.
Yeah, we took that whole back area.
We rolled up, but that's why when you said that, I was like,
I think Crystal's older brother was there. Like,
oh shit.
Yeah, there was so many. But you know, when you're going through something like that, you're not remembering who's there. When my grandpa was in the hospital and all these people were in and out, I couldn't tell you who was there.
Like if I could describe grief in any way in movies, when they focus on one person and it's slow motion, but everything around them is moving fast.
Yeah.
To me, that's the best visual representation I can give to a person of what grief looks like. So like in my head just now, I was like slow motion, and then everyone around me was like chaos.
I mean, that's like when you told me so and so was at my grandpa's funeral. I'm like, were they? Because I was not. I mean, all that was happening, and I was not aware of really who was there. I mean, close friends and family, yes, but other than that, I was completely spaced out.
It doesn't. I'm telling you. So yeah, I forgot all about that. But no, low maintenance friends though. Right?
Yes, low maintenance friends. Huge fan of low maintenance.
I mean, like there'd be times where like I'd be on the phone with Kenzie, and like she'd like hang up automatically, and I'm like, oh, something was happening with the kids.
Exactly.
Someone was at the door, and I'm like, oh,
life happens.
Just things like that, and it's just like, why get mad over it? It's just
life is too short. Life is way too short.
Yes. So chill out, people. Like I don't know why people gotta just be crazy. Any significant lessons you would like to share? Would you like to chair? Would you like to
share? Don't. Easier said than done. Social media is huge now.
Yes.
Don't compare your kids to other kids.
That's good. Yes. That's wise.
I mean, and it took me a while to understand that too, because I'm like, well, why isn't... I mean, Ellie can talk more than London, and London's older than Ellie. And I'm like, why isn't... Each kid's different.
Yes.
Each kid is so different, and each kid's exposed to different things and different people. Kids that are in daycare or have siblings are going to talk a lot, quicker than someone that's at home most days with a parent.
Right.
Or, I was a late walker and I turned out fine. So comparing is probably one of the biggest things. Don't compare your kids. Like on social media, TikTok, I'll see all these TikToks and I'm like, why isn't she doing this? This kid's only one. Why is she doing this? She's fine.
Yes.
I mean, we had her hearing checked. She's fine.
Well, that's like when you told me, I was like, it's gonna be okay. Like I've had a friend whose kid, like she also needed some like speech therapy and things like that, and now like she's like eloquently can talk, and like amazing, and so and she's just fine, and so that's why I was like, it's gonna be okay. Like sometimes kids need these, and like it's just a tool that's gonna help them like grow
be better. Yeah, exactly.
So
the don't compare thing, that's huge. And back to kind of piggyback on the social media thing, like our parents, grandparents, they didn't have social media to compare it to. Like, so I feel like the things that we worry about now, they didn't worry about back then. So why worry about it now?
Yeah,
right.
If that makes sense.
I think social media it's just kind of like an off topic, but I think social media is like the downfall.
It is.
It
is. It's a highlight reel.
Yes.
See, I feel like for like, especially like our age group, like we were that fine line where we still had our full childhood without cell phones.
Yes.
It wasn't until more like
it was like a transition.
Yeah.
We were the transition.
Even like in like junior high and high school when it were a thing, I mean, like we had Snake. We didn't have like Facebook.
And I still had a phone line, we had to dial up on the internet. There was no Wi-Fi or Instagram on your phone. Like we were literally the transition group, I feel like, for those things.
And it like I get to thinking about it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful we didn't have like a phone in our face the entire time, or like you know, like, because there are some rough days I had in high school, and I'm glad that wasn't like documented.
People can be mean on social media, so I can't imagine like our
Yes.
kids having to go through. That's what scares me for the future is what our kids are going to have to go through social media wise, like in school and just different things.
That's why, like, with Lex, and I tried to with Allie, but she's 13 right now, so she's kind of just like that wild card. She talks to me when she needs something, but like I always celebrate like the little wins, like Lexi, and like I see it with the generations, her generation and down, like they don't have a lot of social skills.
Yeah.
And she has a lot of trauma and anxiety on that. But I don't always 100% credit to trauma because it's that generation.
It's just a generation.
And I remember like her going to college was like the scariest thing in the world. It's still scary to her.
Yeah.
But because I would order for her still. Like she was scared to order and talk to a waiter. And I'll never forget when she wrote me and she was like, oh, and she only eats plain chicken nuggets and french fries. Like, she has the appetite of
a child.
No, children eat better than her. Like, she's literally just like plain Jane. And she was like, I think they were like at Chinese restaurant. She's like, I tried sweet and sour chicken, and I was like, oh my! Like, I treated it like she like graduated from. I was like, oh my gosh! Like this is amazing. You tried new food. Like I'm proud of you.
Right.
And then she wanted to try Chipotle, and she went and like ordered in the line, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a like huge win, and like that's why like with like just the pressures of social media and the comparison and all that, I feel like I tried to like uplift her, encourage her more because like it's just nonstop to them.
Yeah.
And part of it's self-inflicted. They could choose not to be on social media, but
True.
that's how they've been taught.
Exactly.
Like, so it's just like, I don't know, like it's good. Social media can
be good, but it can also be poison.
Yes.
Like there'll be times when we've interviewed people at work, younger people, and they can even have like a conversation face to face.
Yes.
And that's sad. It's really sad because that, I feel like whenever I was in school and stuff, we were trained to do interviews and stuff, like taught, especially at tech. I'm a huge supporter at tech because it's really hands-on and they prepare you for a lot of stuff in life. But it's just sad to me that a person can't sit there and communicate with an adult face to face.
Or they don't even know like what to wear.
No.
Like she literally will wear like sweatpants and a hoodie every day. And like a week or two ago, oh my gosh, I freaked out because they're pants we used to wear. So she went to Ross and what movie was it? Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan, how she has like the green army pants with the cargo pockets.
Yes.
Pants are
She was wearing them?
Yes. So she sent me a snap and was like, I kind of like these, and I'm never like quick to be like, oh my god, what are these? Because then one time I did that, and she was like, oh. So she's like, those are so cute. She ended up buying them in this like plain black shirt to go with it. And she's like, what do you think of the fit? And I'm like, it looks good. I'm like, you're like, I'm so proud that you're like not like showing off your body, but like you're not hiding.
Yeah, like you're comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but she ended up taking it off because she was like, that made my like butt look weird, or it was something like that. And I was just like, no, you don't have an ass. That's why it looks weird. But I was just like so proud of her, and I was like, if you want more of a waist, I was like, those drawstrings just yank them and tie them and go like have some shape. And so, like I said, she ended up taking it off, but I was like, this is baby steps.
Yeah.
She didn't buy another hoodie, sweatpant combo.
Yeah, baby steps. Like
I'll tell you guys from a Gen Z perspective, which not to scare you from it, but like in high school, we did have social media, and there was, I want to say, I can't remember if my freshman or sophomore year, but somebody created
I'll never forget that.
Yes.
Called Osage County Confessions.
What's the police called or something?
It was the meanest thing.
I heard it was pretty bad.
Because you can be anonymous and you just send a message to the account, whoever ran it.
It's not like Gossip Girl.
That is so sad.
And it was so mean. Like I remember, I want to say that there was like maybe 2 or 3 about me. I still have these screenshots on my Google. But they like literally, I cried Like I would just stand
We
there.
were trying to figure out who was running it because I had seen someone retweet it on my timeline, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
I think that's how I saw it too. It was a retweet.
I like started looking, and then I saw one about you, and I was like, Justin. And then like we were like trying to figure it out because he's ready to kill someone, and he was like, "No,
that is so wrong."
It was.
I will support London no matter what. However, if she ever does that and is mean to people for no reason at all. Actually, don't be mean to people at all. I will. Oh man, that is not okay. To bully like that, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
Because some people aren't strong enough.
I know which one that you're talking about.
Poor Ween.
Yeah, it was awful. Like, which I mean, they really didn't know my story, but like, just for somebody to like say something like that, I was like, "Who are you? Like, you don't know anything, you know?"
Did
like,
we ever find out who was behind it?
I was convinced that it was somebody who wasn't in high school anymore. Like I thought it was somebody who had already graduated.
Like just starting stuff.
Yeah, just because of the things that they were putting on there, and like if not, it was somebody who definitely knew that they were not going to get the shit beat out of them.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way that there's somebody in that school doing it.
You say that. I don't. You're probably right because
You're a teacher,
right?
A teacher, like a student.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
Yeah,
that's wrong. I just can't get no.
Yeah. So like social media for me was like really traumatic. And then after that it was kind of just like, why do people post everything?
Yeah.
But then also like we were stupid and we would post pictures of like us at a party, and we'd go to school and they'd be like, "You're in uniform, you can't post this," and like because we would be wearing like a cheer shirt or something, and they're like, "We saw this, you're gonna get suspended," and we were like, which my grade personally, we were like, "Try us." Told my mom.
Oh my god.
You go down, we go down, you're going down too. Yeah.
But then at the same time, which we live in a small town, so it was always like the same parents who were, who were talking about other people's kids, and we were just like, "Girl, if you knew what your kid was doing."
See, that's what I'm saying. Because one time when this business opened up downtown, and they had put a beautiful pumpkin display out, Brayden and some of his friends, the cops and all that, ended up finding out who it was, and like he had to go apologize and I think clean it up and all that. But there was one mother in particular who was like, "He needs to be kicked off the basketball team," and like just was like being crazy about it and acting like he like had like done like SA or like something crazy. And it was just like, pretty sure your like 3 or 4 children are all like toes and like just like all bad and all of this.
Do just
Yes. And so it's just like, you're really gonna judge? Like we know.
Yeah, exactly.
So from my perspective, social media just ruined like high school. It ruined everything. I would so recommend, like, if you can keep your kids, which that's why I think that now I'm just like, I don't think your kids should be on social media. I don't think that you should, like, they should not have their own Facebook account. They should not have their own, like, let them be kids.
Let them be little. Yeah. Yes, I agree with that 110%.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I use social media now as just like almost like record keeping for like photos and like
that's for me, like more photo documentary, like an album book almost. And I make sure I don't share something that London, because if you think about it, our parents didn't share stuff about us for the public. So I'm careful about what I share about her,
Right.
Maybe, my mom was sitting at the bar and my baby picture.
She was joking them. And I just feel like, just like some of the stuff that she goes through, I don't want to post her having a temper tantrum on Facebook. That's private. I don't know.
Right.
Some of it being like no judgment, but also yes, judging. The people who like, and maybe it is coping to them, but in my mind, I could never do this. But it irks me when like they put the phone up and then like record themselves crying and having a breakdown.
Yeah, no, I can't.
And I'm like, when I'm crying, like the last thing I think about is like, I should record myself. Like,
right.
They have a private moment too. I agree.
Right.
I won't do that with her. No.
Yes. I'm just like,
Give them a moment.
yeah,
They need space
crazy.
too.
No offense if you are the person that does do that. I mean, to each their own. But like for me, I'm just like, that's just so sad, you know?
Yeah.
Like because then in my head, it makes me feel judgmental because I'm just like, why are you not taking care of your kid
Yeah.
right now? Like, why are you just videoing this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, is that really how you should be?
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%.
And they're like, yeah, they're gonna think this is funny when they're older. And I'm like, no, they're gonna be traumatized.
Yeah.
You put that on social
Yeah.
media for everybody to see.
Yeah, I try to be careful with what I say.
If you are one that does post those type of things, and I would really like to hear your point of view and your thought process on that. And I'm not saying that in like a bitchy way. Like I genuinely want to understand like what you're thinking. So please send us a DM or email us. And I really just want to like hear like
Yeah,
your
like your perspective.
yeah. Because I mean, it could be something like I'm not even thinking of, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or I could still be like, okay, we're gonna agree to disagree. But
Yeah.
if you are on that side though, please reach out.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm curious to see what you find out from that.
So I would like to hear a different like perspective on things. So
Sure.
okay, how do you practice self-care?
Yeah, so just to kind of touch on what we touched on earlier, working out's important to me. Just that's my release. It always has been pre-baby. It's really just important to me that's how I get a lot of stress and anxiety out. So that's really important. Cooking, I used to not be able to cook. If there were a way to boil water or burn it, it would be me, so my cooking skills have gotten better and I enjoy it. And honestly, it's something that we can kind of do together, but she can kind of do her own thing too while I do it because I can put her in her high chair. She can do crafts and I can be over here, but I can still see her. So it's good for both of us.
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up with cooking mom, so I think it's cool that she does, she likes to stir stuff and, it's just,
I love that. I always try to get Ellie to like, like cut up stuff or,
Yep.
whatever.
like cookie dough. Like
Yes.
just have at it, girl. So
A lot of times, like, well, because we'll do the things at Sam's and it'll be like 2 packs of brownies.
Yes.
And so I'll like make 2 bowls of brownies because she's going to destroy hers. But then I'm making brownies over here.
yeah, so those are some of the best memories. But sometimes even just going to the post office for 10 minutes by myself.
Yeah.
I mean, just 10 minutes to myself just to gather my thoughts and just have a minute for me.
Yeah.
It's important. Or running to the dollar store to go get milk or something, Just little things like that really can make a big difference for your mental health.
Yeah.
I love that your answer is realistic and it's not like, I go to the spa for 5
I was going to say, would I go get a massage or take a vacation for a week? Yes. Is that going to be a realistic? No. I remember Grey's Anatomy when Bailey and Weber were like, he was all these dreams and she's like, that's what I want. But in reality, I need to go to the store. I need to do this. And I need to do that. And that's where I'm like, okay, let's do reality. Let's go to the store, not the beach,
Yeah.
So just little minutes you can find for yourself, honestly, can make all the big difference.
Well, and coming from someone who did like have the family that was like cooking with her and hands-on early age, like it's good memories.
Good memories.
I love it. It just made me love cooking. So keep doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and my grandma used to make like no-bake cookies and London knows whenever, it's just so sweet to see just the different memories. So
yes. When the boys were here one time, we were gonna make homemade pasta. And Camden's just at that age though where he like doesn't like anything and like his hands are dirty and he's like, oh, yeah. But like Emilio did like a little bit better with it, but he still had to wash his hands immediately. But it's just things like that. Like it's just important. And I know I can't wait to teach Ellie.
yes.
Slicing and dicing. Yeah, all those things too. So
yeah. So I also have like a little porch, a porch out front that's screened in where I can see her. So she can't like get out, but she can be outside. but there's stuff I'll do inside when she's out there, and just having that, just a little bit of separation for just a minute, 10, 15 minutes.
But I feel like it's okay, which I mean, it might be okay, it might not. Again, different generations, different perspective, but like, I was probably like 5 or 6 outside playing with the neighbor kids, no baby monitor. Like, they're like,
Yeah.
we all survived.
I would let her like play around outside, like, me close by, obviously, but the water, she will go in there.
Oh, I forgot y'all have
So I have to be careful. So that's why the front porch is screened in, because she can be out there, but still,
Well, and I think that's what I meant to say also is like, I think it's good that she has the porch. She can go like,
yes,
her mind,
she can be by herself.
You're literally like around the corner and like
yes.
cooking.
And sometimes I'll go in there and I'll be like, do you want me to play with you? And she's just like, I'm like, she's saying no. She wants her own time. And I get that. So I'm like, okay, girl, like, you can have your own time.
I feel like that's important though, because there are like, I'm very independent, but I can be clingy to Justin.
Yeah.
Like, not really anyone else, but like, there are like others out there though that are like fully dependent and like has to be with someone constantly, like terrified if they do anything alone, and like I could not live like that.
It's
and
funny you
so
say
raising her to be her own individual.
That's such a good point.
She'll go so far in life.
So my cousin Kirsty was watching her when I took my grandpa to the doctor, and it was an all-day thing because he got admitted to the ER. But anyway, she was like, she's like, that kid was so low maintenance. Like, she'd want me to play with her, and then she'd be like, no, I'm fine. Like, she just wanted her own little space. I'd make her something to eat, but she didn't need me to feed her. Like, she's got it. Like, she was just very independent and low maintenance, and I didn't have to sit there with her in front of her all day.
At least the same way.
That's what I was gonna say. If she wants us, she'll for sure.
She'll let you know. Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know if it's like, maybe it's because they're only children.
Maybe.
But also like maybe it's their generation, because which Allison's daughter, she's the only child. She's been an only child. She's getting a sibling though. But so I guess we'll see how it goes with her. But she's also like really independent. And she was born in September, so a couple months older. And then, but she's the same way. She'll like, when she is with her Mimi most of the time, or not most of the time, but some of the time, and she'll like do her own dishes, and she's like over there, she's like helping her out, but then she'll like go play by herself. So I don't know if it's that generation or just, but like
yeah, and I'm fully supportive of it too, because like,
amen.
I'm glad that she can do things on her own and for herself. Like, even just like the paint and crafts activities that we'll do. I'm like, do you want me to help? And she's like, no. But that's teaching her, like, and now she's left-handed, so she'll grab it with her left, and if she wants more, she'll tap me.
Justin can teach her to play ball. He's lefty.
Awesome. Yeah, she is definitely left-handed. She uses that left hand for everything, which I think is so cool because it's something different. And like you said, sports. I mean, she could be valuable in that. So it's so cool.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I always hated the left-handed pitcher.
See.
Always.
She's gonna be valuable.
And then she had to be the poor practice dummy for Justin. That's all our questions.
Awesome. That was so fun.
Is there anything else that you want to touch on? Any advice you want to give?
So, when people offer that they want to help, they mean it. Okay, and don't feel bad for asking for help. Don't feel bad, because there's people there that want to help you and want to help your baby and want to be there, and just don't feel bad. And that took me a long time to be okay with that, because I do not like asking for help, but those people, they really want to help.
Yes.
They do. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And
that's wise.
If you, even if you're not single and you're just scared about becoming a parent, you can do it. I did it. Lots of people have done it. It is scary, but it just all comes whenever you're going through it. It all just comes naturally, if that makes sense. And it's going to be okay. So the fear I get, but it can be overcame. And everything works out the way it's supposed to. It just all falls into place how it should. I never would have asked my boss to work from home that was a blessing he gave me. That was one of my biggest fears, actually, was childcare. I forgot to mention that earlier. So that, everything works out. It just does. Somehow, moms, dads, they just make it work. So
I love that.
Jesus.
I'm very spiritual, so I've always just believed that, just like, and especially the way that my life has played out. Because me and Lynn are also raised by our grandparents, so I'm like we were placed with it for a reason.
Yes.
There's a reason that
There's
we've
a
had
reason.
the life that we've had, like and even like the traumas that I've gone through. I'm like, there's a reason for all of that.
There is a reason for all of it.
So I love that perspective.
Yeah.
Well, and as someone from like the single mom perspective, like she's just gonna see nothing but a strong woman and great work ethic.
I think so too.
Amen.
And
Like it's gonna be something that you're instilling in her that she'll carry forward also.
I agree. And just to like, just a reminder to any parent, you are the 5 people you surround yourself with, and that's who your kids are going to see. So just make sure that your kids are around people that are role models that you want, that you want them to be, like, to aspire, and just make sure your people are the ones you want your kids to be like and go to for advice, because I have no doubt one is going to be calling you up in a couple of years. Auntie Reba, do you know my mom? So just make sure that you surround them with good people.
Yes, yes, that's so true.
A question that I did want to ask, or I wanted to get your perspective on, was technology. How do you use technology currently? How do you plan to?
There's a fine line. To me, there's a fine line. There's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong if you need to get something done or you're on a work call, and if the tablet's the only thing that's going to keep them quiet, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. However, I do make sure that she is outside throughout the day, or in that we do stuff that's not just technology. I'm not against it. Yes, I'm not against it at all. I know some people are, which to each their own. I'm not against technology at all. I do think there's a fine line, and use it accordingly. Like on hers, I can adjust how much screen time is per day and what time it shuts off, and I think that's perfect. I think that's a good balance. So and I make sure that she has educational stuff on there that's teaching her different things, because she doesn't have another kid to play with and learn from. So I feel like sometimes that tablet can be another, I don't want to say another kid, because it's not a person, but I feel like they are a great resource for different things. And that's honestly the way our world is going, is technology. So why not have them adapt to it a little bit earlier? So when they are going to school, they might all be learning from an iPad, or, at the grocery store checkout. Most of it's self-checkout technology, and that's just the way our generation's going, which is okay. But I want to make sure too that she goes outside and plays like I did.
Still grounded.
Yes. So I found a pretty good balance. I try to just find a really good balance. I don't allow it like in the bedroom or anything like that, but it's just a healthy balance of finding it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I feel like there was something else that I was thinking.
Well, while you're trying to remember, I think one thing I also want to say is, like, I know as single parent, like, sometimes you're like playing both roles, and it's like you have to think overtime in like that mom position and the dad position. But at the end of the day, like, if you're 100% there and show up, like, that is what is going to be remembered.
I think so
like,
too.
I don't look back and think like, oh, well, I didn't have a dad there. No, but I had, like, my mom or my grandma and grandpa. And so even though you may be filling that void, and they very well could too, but like, there's still that connection there, and you're still fulfilling that. And so, like, every single parent out there, like, you're doing double the work, and we see you, and you're so valued, and like, you will be appreciated 2 times.
And I will say, kids are pretty resilient, more than I think we give them credit for, because like, you don't know what you don't know. And what I mean by that is, when I was growing up, me and my dad didn't really connect till I was older. And so like school, father-daughter dances, I never thought to myself, well, my dad's not here to do that, because it was never really a dynamic that was already there. And so just remind yourself that your kid's going to be fine. They're pretty resilient, and there will be people that step up. Like, I have no doubt her uncle, or, her grandpa, or different people will be like, I'll take you to the daddy-daughter date. So they're pretty resilient, more than we give them credit for, I think.
Even like the whole getting married thing, I like never was like, oh my god, I don't want my dad to like walk me down, or I don't want to. Like, I immediately knew, like, oh, my brother's gonna walk me down and be my first dance. And then I did dabble back and forth on like having my Uncle Gary do it, but then you also run into like, well, I am also close with like my other uncle, and that, so I ended up just sticking with my brother. And then I think another thing is also, I want to say, so like when I first had started at the chamber, I had like met these ladies and we were talking, and I had made mention, like I came from a single family, and I'll never forget, they were like, wow, you're doing so much better than what the statistics would say. And I just remember being like,
That's cool.
just because like my mom's a single mom and I like don't know, like does not mean like
That
I'm
is
another
so
statistic.
tacky.
Right.
So like if anything, I have more admiration for single parents because again, like they're doing double the work for one person, whereas like like two people. And even then, you could have a two-family household and one of them still ain't doing shit. So like
one has to work full time to support. I mean, there's so many dynamics. So don't factor those in when you don't know. You might know their name, but you don't know their story.
Yes.
I mean,
so, but you're gonna build a strong little girl.
Well,
She's already strong. She's a force to be reckoned with.
she's something. No, she's great, my little buddy. We have so much fun together, and I'm learning too. I mean, she's learning, I'm learning a different, I had 12 nieces and nephews, but I was never their full-time parent. So yeah, I had experience with kids, but full-time, I'm learning with her. So, and each day's trial and error.
Well, and like again, on the other perspective of that, like as the person who has like lost their mom, like you think about like things like I think I mentioned this, like getting a paycheck, like oh my gosh, like I'm doing better than she was, but like I'm still struggling. Like how did she do it?
And that's what
spoiled ass kid.
And moms, parents, dads, they find a way to make it work somehow. I don't know how, but it works itself out. And there'll be times, so like my job, I've got a decent salary, but I am commissioned too. And so like the holidays, those are always tough, because it's just slower. And I'm like, how am I? This is gonna hurt, but it always works itself out. Somehow it just always works out. So
I find myself sometimes asking, like how do they afford that? Like whenever whenever we lived with Reese and Allison, our rent was, I know their half of the rent was the same as our 750, and then on top of that, like they had I don't know if they had already got a new car, but I know like they had car payments, and then on top of that, then she was having to pay. It was like $1,500 for daycare, which was double our rent.
that's crazy.
And that was per month. Like that's so wild. And so I was just like, in my head, I always was like, how do they do that? But then also, like, you look at other people whose parents work like minimum wage jobs and they have new shoes and different things, and I'm just like God provides.
He does.
Like, you don't see it, but like
He
makes things happen.
Yes.
And so I think that's just like, which I'm not saying like you should judge people, don't judge people, but like it just always makes me like, for the longest time I just always questioned it, It's just like, that's so wild, because I look at my life and then I'm like, well, what could I do differently? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, but then I'm just like, it's not what could I do differently, it's what's God's doing for them.
What is God doing for them exactly, and who has He put in their lives? Because it could have came from someone that knows that mom is struggling.
Right.
I've had, London has so many baby clothes, and a lot of them were gifts from people, and they were very good clothes and just shoes. And I knew someone that had a baby and was struggling. And I'm like, just please take all of this. Like, take it. I'd rather it go to someone that needs it. Someone helped me out. Preemie clothes. There was someone here locally who's a foster parent. I don't want to say names, but they had a preemie baby, and they posted, does anyone have preemie clothes? Like, this child was placed. I know how hard it is to find preemie clothes. You cannot find them in the store, really. You've got to order them. And there's only a few places that carry them. So I was like, I have them and they are yours. Take them, please. It's the least I can do. So God puts people in people's lives too that definitely, I feel like, help kind of make the things just kind of tie all together,
Amen. Amen.
I don't think we can follow up anything.
I
love that. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, no shame if anyone does anything differently than I do at all. To each their own. These are just things that me personally, our experience and work best for me, and no judgment. I mean, no judgment at all on my end.
Yeah, we support, which that's why we're doing this project, so that we can show moms of different perspectives.
Yeah.
And just how everybody does things differently, and just showcase that, like, to each their own, and
Yeah.
everybody's life is different.
One thing that I do not do is I don't give her juice. She's never had juice. And that's just something, just the sugars and dyes in it. And it's just not something I want to give her, but it's okay if you do. Like, I would never mom shame anyone saying, I cannot believe you do that for your kid, or don't do that. It's not my business, you know?
Although I will say, look into dyes and how it goes in conjunction with moods and like health problems. It's very interesting.
It is.
In a group,
it is.
I've learned a lot.
Have too. I have too. When I started looking at temper tantrums and different things, it said that sometimes juice can attribute to that. And she's a water baby. She likes water.
Red dye number 40 is the devil.
Yeah.
Devil.
Read the ingredients.
Devil. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in.
No,
there.
you're
Yeah, no. Dr. will too.
Well, I'll have to have you back on, because we should have some more good conversation.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
Thank you guys for having me.
Follow, like, subscribe, share, email. I think I hit everything.
STBT2024@gmail.com.
It was so fun. I'd love to be back sometime.
Yes,
yes,
let's do it.
sure.
Let's think of some topics.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Start recording this time.